on June 21st, 2023. One of the richest men in the world accepted a cage fight challenge from the richest man in the world.
I'll fight him. I'll fight Zuckerberg any place, anytime, any rule.
The fight would never happen, but by then it wouldn't need to. At a Facebook town hall on November 6, 2014, Zuckerberg said to a public live audience, "I'm not a cool person, and I've never really tried to be cool." By 2018, this is becoming a liability. April 10th, 2018, the Hart Senate Office Building, Washington, D.C., Mark Zuckerberg sits before the Senate Judiciary Committee and the Senate Commerce, Science, and Transportation Committee. He is sitting on a cushion the internet immediately called a booster seat, which becomes yet another meme. Senator Orrin Hatch asks how Facebook makes money. Zuckerberg pauses. It's barely a second, but it feels like a year.
Well, if so, how do you sustain a business model in which users don't pay for your service?
Senator, we run ads.
I see.
The hearing turns, "Is Mark Zuckerberg a robot?" into one of the internet's favorite jokes. But there's a version of this story that's happened before. In the late 1990s, Bill Gates was the most powerful man in tech and also one of its most hated villains. The antitrust trial against Microsoft was more than a legal proceeding. It was a public referendum on whether Gates' image as a ruthless monopolistic operator had made his company too dangerous to leave unchecked. Deposition footage of Gates being evasive, combative, and visibly contemptuous of the process became some of the most watched tech content of the era.
Who was at this executive staff meeting? Probably members of the executive staff.
The DOJ went beyond Microsoft's business practices. They went after the story the public had already decided to believe. Gates eventually stepped back from the CEO role in 2000. Whether that was cause, effect, or coincidence, the lesson wasn't lost on the generation of founders who came after him. A CEO's public image is not separate from the company's regulatory and competitive risk environment. It is part of it. By 2021, Mark Zuckerberg was the closest thing the internet had to a recurring villain. He was not just disliked, he had been memed to death. The lizard person, the robot. Not just jokes, these memes represented a consensus against him. A consensus which could have serious consequences in Washington and on Wall Street. The Social Network, released October 1st, 2010, had defined him for a generation. A dramatized version of Zuckerberg as a cold, manipulative genius who betrays friends and rivals. Zuckerberg later said about the film, "They just kind of made up a bunch of stuff that I found kind of hurtful." But while he disputed its premise, he never mounted a full public rebuttal. And the narrative stuck. July 2020. Kailua, Hawaii. Zuckerberg is photographed surfing with his face covered in white zinc sunscreen. He looks like a mime escaping a yacht. The photo becomes a meme immediately. But this wasn't the first time he'd tried to look like a cool dude. October 9th, 2016. Zuckerberg stands in his own backyard in front of a smoker, broadcasting live on Facebook. He is wearing a t-shirt. He opens the smoker lid and utters into the camera,
I'm making meats now. Smoking these meats here. Our little meat smoking. It's smoking. So, I'm the meat chef. Smoking meat, smoking these meats.
Mr. Zuckerberg, what is Facebook doing to prevent foreign actors from interfering in U.S. elections?
We are smoking these meats, meat like a brisket. I'm making meats now. Someone asked me, do I smoke meat? It's gonna be delicious. Yeah, I smoke meat, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, give me the suck, give me the suck.
The clip gets memed relentlessly and picked apart by comedians and commentators online. The phrase becomes shorthand for a specific kind of uncanniness. The alien impersonating a suburban dad. But something else happens underneath the mockery. For a while, some of the conversation shifts. Instead of treating him as purely sinister, more people start treating him as weird. And weird is adjacent to likable, at least adjacent to not threatening. The weirdness gave him a few years of breathing room. Then came Frances Haugen.
My name is Frances Haugen. I used to work at Facebook. I joined Facebook because I think Facebook has the potential to bring out the best in us. But I'm here today because I believe Facebook's products harm children, stoke division, and weaken our democracy. The company's leadership knows how to make Facebook and Instagram safer, but won't make the necessary changes because they have put their astronomical profits before people.
October 5th, 2021. Frances Haugen sits before the Subcommittee on Consumer Protection, Product Safety and Data Security. She is everything Zuckerberg isn't in front of a camera: composed, direct, and likable. A former Facebook product manager, she has brought tens of thousands of pages of internal documents. The documents show Facebook's own research found that Instagram worsened body image and mental health issues for a significant subset of teens, especially teen girls. Knew its moderation systems were dangerously under-resourced in many non-English markets, including countries like Myanmar and Ethiopia, and that the company did not adequately act on those findings. And again, the company chose growth over safety. Reporting from this period shows Zuckerberg was increasingly preoccupied with how he was perceived, not just as a CEO or a supervillain, but as a cultural figure for his generation. Power was no longer enough. A new story was brewing. October 28, 2021, 23 days after Haugen's testimony, Zuckerberg appears in a polished keynote video at the Facebook Connect event. He is inside a virtual environment that exists only as a demo, a vision of a world not yet built for the public.
It is time for us to adopt a new company brand to encompass everything that we do. To reflect who we are and what we hope to build, I am proud to announce that starting today, our company is now Meta.
Facebook, the corporate name at least, is dead. It is now called Meta. The future, Zuckerberg says, is the metaverse. The bet would soon become public. Reality Labs, the division behind the metaverse, was burning more than $10 billion a year, a figure that would only grow. By October 2022, Meta had lost roughly $800 billion in market value, nearly the entire GDP of Switzerland, evaporated in just over a year. By March 2023, Meta had announced 21,000 layoffs across 2 rounds, 11,000 in November 2022, and 10,000 more the following spring. Reality Labs, the metaverse division, was hemorrhaging over $13 billion a year, more than the total revenue of many Fortune 500 companies. But even earlier in the downturn, there was the avatar. Zuckerberg posted it himself on Facebook, his VR self grinning in front of a flat, textureless rendering of the Eiffel Tower. It looks like a game from 2006. It is supposed to celebrate Horizon Worlds expanding into France and Spain. The laughter spreads like wildfire across social media and news outlets, so intense that Zuckerberg himself posts an improved, higher-resolution avatar within days. By late 2022, his personal net worth had fallen by over $100 billion from its peak, one of the largest individual wealth wipeouts ever recorded. His face was now a punchline, and that had a huge cost. Zuckerberg's public image was way more than a midlife crisis. Meta was entering the most consequential hiring war in the history of tech, the AI race. The stakes for his empire were sky high. By late 2022, amid the metaverse setbacks, Zuckerberg is training twice a day at his Bay Area home with Dave Camarillo, a fourth-degree jiu-jitsu black belt who has trained many UFC fighters, and Kai Wu, one of the fighters in Zuckerberg's training circle. Zuckerberg even installs an MMA-style octagon on his property. In November 2023, he tears his ACL during a sparring session. Undeterred, he returns to training as soon as his surgeons allow it. The guy who tried to eliminate decision fatigue by wearing essentially the same grey t-shirt every day, the same stripped-down uniform from the early Facebook days through the IPO, through the billion-dollar Instagram acquisition, is now making dozens of daily decisions about his body, diet, training splits, recovery protocols. But this makeover had a blueprint. In January 2020, 3 years before the cage fight, 2 years before the metaverse collapse, a private email thread was circulating between Zuckerberg, Peter Thiel, Sheryl Sandberg, Nick Clegg, and Mark Andreessen. The thread, later surfaced in Tennessee versus Meta, was nominally about Facebook's relationship with millennials. But buried inside was something more personal. Thiel wrote that Zuckerberg had been cast as the spokesman for his generation, and that the current approach was making him come across as, in Thiel's words, a baby boomer construct of how a well-behaved millennial is supposed to act. Zuckerberg's reply is striking for its self-awareness. He writes, quote, "I am the most well-known person of my generation," end quote, and that this means how he personally shows up matters as much as any product or policy decision. Nick Clegg, copied on the thread, was already being positioned for exactly this role. In 2018, Clegg, the former Deputy Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, had been brought in as Vice President for Global Affairs and Communications, the public-facing diplomat tasked with explaining the company to the outside world. He had the near-impossible task to help present Zuckerberg as more relatable, essentially to be the human face Mark has struggled to show. The timing wasn't accidental. By 2023, Meta had reoriented almost entirely around AI, and Zuckerberg was personally leading an aggressive campaign to pull top researchers away from OpenAI, Google, and Anthropic with packages that would later reach 9 figures in some cases. This was not a war that could be won with money alone. The people being recruited had built careers at companies run by founders with gravitas, Sam Altman, Demis Hassabis, Dario Amodi. They were being asked to leave those environments for a company whose CEO was, at the time, building a virtual Eiffel Tower that looked like a PS1 game. The rebrand is also, among other things, a recruiting pitch, a signal that the person at the top is someone worth betting on again. Over the next few years, pictures of a brand new, badass Mark Zuckerberg start to drop. From a viral video of Zuckerberg on a hydrofoil carrying an American flag to his 2024 debut of a chain necklace, designer t-shirt, and a new haircut, the Roman Emperor curls, the controlled scruff. Each photo feels timed, like a product release.
Have you heard the term Zuckaissance? Zuckaissance!
No, what is
You haven't heard that?
No.
It's Zuck's Renaissance.
Huh. What is this?
You know, you've got this new look, the chains, the shearling jacket. Everything you do seems to become a meme.
At least make them good memes.
Right, well,
Yeah.
it seems like you're leaning in on the joke more.
Then I think as I've gotten older, I'm just like, all right, whatever. It doesn't matter, right? It's like just kind of try to be myself as much as I feel comfortable being.
And then he decided to compete. May 6th, 2023, Woodside, California. A jiu-jitsu tournament registration sheet lists a competitor in the white belt divisions. Name, Mark Elliott. Mark Elliott is Mark Zuckerberg. He has registered under his middle name, enough to keep the bracket low-key on paper, not enough to hide who he is once he steps on the mat. He is days away from turning 39, and he competes in the lightweight division, around 155 pounds. The matches are grinding, technical, sweat-soaked minutes of a man pushing through something he's still building skills in and refusing to stop. He wins gold in his weight class, silver in the open division. He posts the medals on Instagram later that day. Millions of followers see it across his social accounts.
Did you see Mark Zuckerberg won a gold medal in a Brazilian Jiu-jitsu competition?
No.
Mark Zuckerberg is a fucking savage. This dude has been training jiu-jitsu. This is what he did. He wore a COVID mask and he fucking put a hat on and he hid.
No.
And he used an alias. And then imagine you're right about to compete and like maybe your first competition. Well, just give it a try. I mean, what's the worst thing that could happen? Worst thing that could happen, you get strangled by a super nerd in front of the whole world.
Zuckerberg.
It looks like Zuckerberg wanted both things at once. A low-profile competition and a public victory lap. It didn't matter. Either way, it turned into content. Later in 2025, Jimmy Donaldson, Mr. Beast, the most subscribed individual creator on YouTube, would even appear in a video interview with Zuckerberg. Zuckerberg becomes briefly a human. Still, as one commenter puts it, "You know it's bad when Mr. Beast is the most normal person in the video." Zuckerberg can feel it's working. The medals, the interview featuring Mr. Beast. The internet is responding. He wants more. June 21st, 2023, Elon Musk, who bought Twitter 8 months before for $44 billion, shed roughly 80% of its staff and has spent every week since in a kind of public combustion that makes the metaverse avatar look presidential. Posts that he'd be up for a cage match with Zuckerberg.
Tech billionaires Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg have caused some excitement online, hinting that they may soon square off in a cage fight. Apparently, here we are. The exchange began on Elon's Twitter, where he posted that he was up for a cage fight with a meta boss, to exchange some pleasantries on Twitter suggesting that the fight could happen in Las Vegas, maybe even pay-per-view.
It reads like a joke, but Zuckerberg takes it seriously, even personally, as Michael Jordan would say.
It became personal with me.
Zuckerberg opens Instagram, screenshots Musk's tweet, and posts it to his story with 3 words. "Send me location." It becomes one of the most viral things he has ever posted. It is also the most reckless thing he has posted in years. Soon after, UFC President Dana White says publicly that he's talking to both men to make the fight happen. TMZ, CNN, and the New York Times all cover it. For a moment, it looks as if 2 of the richest men on earth might actually fight each other in a cage.
Can we be excited about this? Is there a possibility this is really going to happen?
Well, just to give some clarification. So what he said is Mark Zuckerberg responded with "send me location," which is something that Khabib Nurmagomedov says when people challenge him. So that was what "send me location" meant. And I was talking to both Elon and Mark last night. Both guys are absolutely dead serious about this.
But this cage fight is not a software release. It requires that Elon Musk, a man who has demonstrated time and time again that he could commit to anything publicly and follow through on nothing, actually signs, actually trains, actually enters a cage. Inside Meta, people were watching and scratching their heads. This had started to feel less like a strategy and more like a man winging it. But Zuckerberg's posts draw extraordinary engagement. The internet is on fire. August 2023. The posts trickle in over several weeks like a man slowly backing toward a door. First, Musk says he needs an MRI on his neck and upper back. Then he says he may need surgery. He offers no clear diagnosis, no firm timeline, and no concrete fight date. By mid-August, the proposed fight had effectively collapsed. It was never officially scheduled in the first place. There was no signed contract, no sanctioning commission, no confirmed venue, though not for lack of trying. Dana White had been brokering, Italy had offered the Colosseum, and both camps had been in discussions for weeks, but none of it was binding. Looking back, it looks like it was nothing but content, a gigantic engagement farming scheme. August 13th, 2023. Zuckerberg writes a post on Threads. The message is long and detailed. He says he proposed a date and Musk would not commit. He says he's moving on, that he'll focus on competing with people who actually take the sport seriously, with or without Musk on the proposed date. Mark Zuckerberg was moving on, and so was everything else. December 29th, 2023. Meta closes the year at $351, up about 192% year to date from its January opening price of roughly $120, and nearly 300% from its November 2022 low around $88. Zuckerberg had declared 2023 to be the year of efficiency, and for once, Wall Street loved it. The word metaverse had been steadily displaced from Zuckerberg's public messaging, replaced almost entirely by AI. The budgets hadn't disappeared, but the narrative had shifted. AI claimed the spotlight, the hype, and increasingly the investment priority, even as Reality Labs continued to quietly burn billions. The cage fight is dead. Zuckerberg's August 2023 post about Musk is still up, and none of it matters. In April 2024, Zuckerberg posts a video on Instagram. Mike Rundle, a software engineer and app designer, takes the footage, applies an AI filter that adds gold chains and a beard to his face, and it goes viral. The internet is laughing with him. But the strangest thing is this. Next to Elon Musk's controversies, who by early 2024 has amplified an anti-Semitic conspiracy theory on his own platform for which he later publicly apologized, but which triggered mass advertiser boycotts across X, and is posting culture war broadsides to more than 170 million followers, Mark Zuckerberg appears more reasonable, more stable, almost normal by 2024 tech billionaire standards.
I hope they stop. You hope, don't advertise.
You don't want them to advertise?
No.
What do you mean?
If somebody's going to try to blackmail me with advertising, blackmail me with money, go f*** yourself. But go f*** yourself. Is that clear? I hope it is. Hey, Bob, if you're in the audience.
The rebrand didn't exactly make Mark Zuckerberg cool, but it may have made him seem less threatening. In late 2024, Zuckerberg meets Trump at Mar-a-Lago. In early 2025, he announces Meta will phase out its third-party fact-checking program in the US, replacing it with a community-based system. Moreover, Meta donates $1 million to Donald Trump's inauguration fund. From the grey t-shirt Zuckerberg of 2018, these moves would have read as capitulation, a frightened man in a booster seat trying to kiss the ring. From the chain-wearing jiu-jitsu competing Zuckerberg of 2024, they read as an astute realignment.
The recent elections also feel like a cultural tipping point towards once again prioritizing speech. So we're going to get back to our roots and focus on reducing mistakes, simplifying our policies, and restoring free expression on our platforms. More specifically, here's what we're going to do. First, we're going to get rid of fact checkers and replace them with community notes similar to X, starting in the US. After Trump first got elected in 2016, the legacy media wrote non-stop about how misinformation was a threat to democracy. We tried in good faith to address those concerns without becoming the arbiters of truth. But the fact checkers have just been too politically biased and have destroyed more trust than they've created, especially in the US. So over the next couple of months, we're going to phase in a more comprehensive community notes system.
In the end, the polling never moved much, but something more useful happened. Meta's stock recovered, the AI hiring campaign accelerated, and the regulatory temperature in the new political climate dropped. Mark Zuckerberg never became popular, but the kind of reaction he provoked did shift. On Reddit and elsewhere, some commenters described the rebrand as less like a creepy robot and more like a human douchebag. But in the end, a billionaire who is weird but funny seems infinitely less dangerous than a billionaire who is powerful and weird. And because Zuckerberg controls a majority of Meta's voting power, shareholders can't realistically overrule him, and the board has little practical ability to force him out. He can play being a cool kid as long as he wants. The man who said, "I'm not a cool person and I've never really tried to be cool," now commands a personal PR and security apparatus that rivals the size of a corporate brand department.